By the end of the period / this video, you're going to be able to calculate slope, graph a line, and write an equation in slope-intercept form given 2 points. Okay, so hopefully you remember the formula for slope. The slope, which is m, equals rise over run, which is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So if we were going to look at this on here, okay, so we're talking about this right here. All right, it's rise over run. Another way to think about it is the up and down over the left and right, okay, when you're thinking about for slope. Okay, it's the up and down over left and right. If I were to ask you to find the slope of this line here, you can do it 2 ways. You do it by counting. Okay, so in our first example, you can do it by counting on here. Let me erase this real quick. There you go. Okay, so we can calculate this by straight up counting, or again, just to get practice using our slope formula, we can plug in our x's and our y's. So again, the big thing we need to think about when we're doing this is consistency. So I want you to notice here, we're going to go ahead and you can kind of have a choice on this and you can pick. But if you're going to start with this 5 right here being your first y value, then I have to start with this 3 here being my first x value. So we're talking numerator and denominator here. The y's are being subtracted on top, the x is on bottom. Notice how it's always subtraction, even if this ordered pair here has 2 negative numbers. So it would be 5 minus -1, that turns to addition, it's 6. It's 3 minus a -2, that turns to addition, you get 5. So my slope is 6/5. If you would have counted, you would have got the same thing. Okay. So again, if I'm not even given a graph, if I ask you to find the slope, again, recognizing here, you have an x and a y for each of these. Okay, so it's the y subtracted divided by the x's subtracted. All right, so you would end up, you could go ahead and let's say we want to start with this 2 here. So it's going to be 2 minus a -6 from over here. And then on top and then on bottom, it's 7 minus 4. Again, double negative turns to addition, you get 8 on top. 7 minus 4 is 3, your slope is 8/3. So again, if we're given the 2 points, -2, and 4, 1. So your slope formula, y subtracted divided by x subtracted. Again, recognizing here that we took 1 minus a -2. That's what's here. We took 4 minus a -2 down here. All right, double negatives turn to addition. Simplifies to 1/2. You should pause the video and find the slope of these 2 points on your own. So finding the slope of a line that passes through the points -2, 4, and 2, 4. So if we were to plot these over here on the right, so we'd be looking at -2, 4. That would be right here, that point right there. And then 2, 4 would be right here. Hopefully you're noticing that if you connect these with a line, this is a horizontal line. Okay, so whenever you're working with a horizontal line, your slope will be 0. Okay, so I'll just show you right here. So example, you connect those points as a horizontal line. Now, that's how you can see it visually and calculate it visually. But if we were to actually physically do the slope, again, 4 minus 4 over -2 minus 2, order matters. You end up with 0 divided by -4, which is 0 divided by any non-zero number. Your slope is 0. Makes sense, we got our line there. Okay. Again, this is a horizontal line. Let's now look at an undefined slope. So again, we have the points 3, 2 and 3, 4. Okay, so y subtracted over x is subtracted. So -4 minus 2 divided by 3 minus 3. You're going to notice the denominator becomes 0, -6 over 0. As long as you're dividing by 0, your slope is going to be undefined because you cannot divide by 0. Not happening. Okay, if we were to graph this, putting our point at 3, 2 and 3, -4, connect them, this is a vertical line. So the slope of a vertical line is undefined. Slope can be expressed different ways. It's rise over run, vertical change over horizontal change. Okay, other ways to think about it is as you read a line as you move left to right, like you would read a sentence left to right. If it's going up to the right, it's positive. If it goes down to the right, it's negative. So you will have three different types of slope. You'll have a positive slope when the line goes up to the right, negative when it goes on the right. You will have zero slope when it's horizontal, and undefined slope when it's a vertical line. Okay, equations of lines. Okay, the slope-intercept form of equation of a non-vertical line is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So in our picture, the m is your slope, the b is the y-intercept. So what if I were to ask you to graph this equation? Y equals negative 5x plus 6. Well, first off, is it in slope-intercept form? Yes. So the y is isolated, it's all alone. So you want to ask yourself, what's the slope? What's the y-intercept? The slope, if it's in slope-intercept form, is whatever's in front of the x. Notice how we did not write an x with this. It's what's in front of the x. This is called the coefficient. Okay. The y-intercept is what's left over if it's in slope-intercept form. So in this case, it's plus 6, so it's a positive 6. We've written it as an ordered pair because that's how we need to think of it to graph. So 0, 6 would be all the way up here, the top, and my slope is negative 5. Now, you can think of this slope as a fraction, negative 5 over 1. So on here, again, remember slope is up and down over left and right. You go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'd go right 1. Okay, and I like to put 3 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then right 1 again. So you could see if I asked you to graph this, again, you find slope and y-intercept, connect your points with a straight line. Notice how there's arrowheads. Notice how the line goes all the way through the graph. Okay, what if I asked you to graph this, y equals x over 3 minus 3? Again, it is in slope-intercept form. What's kind of sneaky or tricky about this is you can rewrite this as 1/3 x minus 3, like that. And so that's because there's a coefficient of 1 in front of that x. So our slope is actually 1/3. The y-intercept, notice how it's negative because it was minus 3, is 0, negative 3. So again, coming down here to 0, negative 3, the y-intercept right there. My slope is positive 1/3, so I go up 1, right 3, up 1, right 3, and then connect my 3 points with a line. And I didn't do this on the last one. You know, lines could be better, but whatever. I do use a straight edge, which you can use your school ID or whatever. Maybe do a little better line than I did there. But either way, something you should ask yourself is, hey, does my graph match what my slope should be? And it does. It goes up to the right. So you should go ahead and try these two. Here are your answers here. For number 1, the slope is negative 1/2. The y-intercept is 3. For number 11, the second question on here, the slope is 2. Again, you can think of it as a fraction. I think it helps. The y-intercept is negative 3. All right, so check your graph, see if you did them right. So now can you work backwards? So if I give you the slope and the y-intercept, can you write the equation? Well, again, slope is your m, the y-intercept is the b. Your slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So we're literally just plugging these in. So y equals negative 3x plus 5. If my slope is 5/3, my y-intercept is negative 9. Again, plugging it in. Y equals 5/3 x minus 9. Why don't you go ahead and try these two on your own? Okay, so here's where we're getting to the meat and potato part of the lesson, the most difficult part. What if I say write the equation of a line, but I don't give you the slope and I don't give you the y-intercept? So I give you 2 points like this. Well, the way to do this is you actually have to calculate the slope. Now, we practiced that just a little bit ago. Okay, so if my points are -4, -4, and 4, -2, I want to calculate my slope. Again, think about your slope formula. Okay, you take the y's and subtract. So -2 minus -4. Again, notice that it's subtraction over here. Okay, looking right over here. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and take, since I started with -2, I have to start with +4 minus -4. So it's another double negative. This becomes 2 over 8 or 1/4. Now, here's the tricky part. You have to pick, you have your slope, you calculated slope. You have to pick an x and a y from one of the ordered pairs. And it's got to be the same ordered pair, and you solve for b. So we're going to go ahead on here, and we're going to pick the second ordered pair because it has a positive number and a negative instead of both negatives. Okay, so for that 4, -2, you're going to plug your 4 in for the x here on y equals mx plus b. You're going to plug the -2 in for the y, and we already calculated the slope. You're going to plug the slope in, whoops, for the m over here. Okay, so we're going to end up with -2, because that's what y is, 1/4, because that's your slope, and then 4 for the x. Okay, so that's where each of these came from. Once we solve this, you're going to know what your y-intercept is. Okay, 1/4 times 4 is 1. You subtract the 1. I get my y-intercept, my b, to be -3. Okay, so we know our m. We found it over here. We know our b, our y-intercept here. Now we're just going to substitute those back in to slope-intercept form. Y equals 1/2 x minus 3. So again, if I'm given the ordered pair, 3, -4, and -1/4, calculate your slope. It's -2. Okay, so I took, 4 minus -4, -1 minus 3. Okay, that's what we did over here. You end up with -8/4, which your slope is just -2. Now again, you get to pick your ordered pair you want to choose. Okay. Oh, that's a typo. We're going to go ahead and pick 3, -4 for this. Okay. So to do that, all right, on this, you're going to plug in a -4 for the y. You're going to put in a -2 for the slope, and you're going to plug in 3 for the x. We're calculating our b here. Again, we picked this ordered pair here. It had an x and a y value. We already knew our m value. We're trying to find the b. So you end up with -2 times 3. So that's -6 plus b. You're going to add 6 to both sides. You're going to get your b to be +2. Then we substitute those in. So we have y equals mx plus b. I know my m. I know my b. Y equals -2x plus 2 is my slope-intercept form of a line that goes through these 2 points. Why don't you go ahead and try this one on your own? Okay, what about horizontal and vertical lines? So remember our horizontal line. It has a slope of 0. Okay, so horizontal line has a slope of 0. Okay, let's look at some of the points on the horizontal line. So I could be looking at the point 3, 4 that I just put on your screen, or the point 5, 4, or the point 0, 4, or the point -2, 4, or the point 2, 4 that was on there at the start. Hopefully you're starting to notice something being the same. One of these things is the same in all of these, right? That is, the y coordinate is always 4. So you can go ahead and write the equation of this, because x is always changing, but the y is not. Y equals 4. A horizontal line that does not hit the x-axis, so a horizontal line is not going to hit the x-axis. Okay, it will never have an x in the equation. It's just y equals 4 there. All right, what about a vertical line? So again, a vertical line has a slope of undefined, because when you calculate the slope, you have to end up dividing by 0, which you're not allowed to do. Okay, so let's look at some points on this vertical line. Hey, I got 2, 2. Hey, I got 2, 0. Seeing a pattern already? 2, -1. So again, you're going to notice that the x coordinate is never changing. It's always staying 2. The y's are changing, but the x isn't. Now, this is where you got to be careful. This is the only equation This is the only equation where the, whoops, sorry, had a little something happen here. The only equation where it's just an x. So x is always 2. Your equation of this is x equal 2. So if I see y equals any number, you know it's a horizontal line. If it's just y equals an integer, so y equals 10, y equals 3. If I see x equals 0, x equals -4, x equals 3, okay, those will all be vertical lines. So let's look at an example if we're going to graph the line y equals 5. Again, think about what special case this is. It's a horizontal line. Okay, so again, thinking about all the points here, the y never changes, the x does. So it's a horizontal line through 0, 5. So go ahead and graph these on your own, keeping in mind that number 2 is a special case. Be careful on 3 and 4. You would think that they're special cases, they're not. And then on this page here, I would like for you to write the equation. So remember, find the slope, pick a point, calculate the b. Once you have your m and your b, you can write your equation in slope-intercept form.